Hey there. Ready to swap those dumbbells for some brain gains?
Always up for that.
You sent over some interesting stuff about muscle building,
Yeah,
mainly this YouTube interview with Dr. Michael Israetel.
right. A sports scientist cuts through the BS.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we're going for in this deep dive.
Sounds good. What's he got to say?
Well, he's big on efficiency, wants to help people get in shape, but
Yeah.
like minimal time, risk, all that.
And that's refreshing, right? Because so much of what we see is about extremes.
Totally. And he actually tackles those head on. Like one of the biggest myths he busts is this idea that getting ripped requires, hours at the gym every single day.
Okay, yeah, we've all heard that one.
But he's saying even just an hour a week.
An hour.
Yeah, split into shorter sessions, but done right. He's saying it can completely transform your body.
Interesting. So it's not just about the time commitment, it's the effectiveness of how you're using that time.
Exactly. And it's like he's saying, stop making excuses.
Hmm.
Most of us can find an hour, right?
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious, what's his take on nutrition? Because that feels like a whole other can of worms.
It is, and he goes there. Another myth he tackles, needing a complete nutritional overhaul to see results.
Oh, yeah, the superfoods and crazy restrictive diets.
All of that. He calls those notions, not facts.
I like that. So what's the alternative?
He's really emphasizing a balanced, consistent approach over chasing these fads.
Sustainable changes, right. Not
Yeah.
just quick fixes.
Yes. And it's funny, he even tells the story about how people freak out when they see him eating regular food because they assume he's got some secret stash of, like, magic superfoods.
Right, because he's so ripped, he must have some secret.
Exactly. And it shows how deeply ingrained these myths are. But I do want to touch on the why behind fitness, before we get into the nitty-gritty of Dr. Israetel's methods.
Sure, because it's about more than just six-pack abs, right?
Right. He's all about exercising for overall health, longevity, better brain function, even your mood can improve.
And he would know, right? I mean, the guy walks the walk.
Totally.
Mm.
He even mentioned that back when he was taking steroids, his blood work was still excellent
Mm-hmm.
because he was prioritizing like being lean, being muscular, being active, all of it.
That's interesting. I mean, we definitely need to circle back to the steroid thing later.
Oh, absolutely. But before we go there, should probably give people the rundown of his credentials just so they know we're not,
Not just taking advice from some random gym bro.
Exactly.
Okay, well, for starters, the guy's got a PhD,
And
sport physiology, and his background is in kinesiology, exercise science, even taught at the university level. He's legit.
okay, so we're dealing with a serious expert here.
Mm-hmm.
But how does he actually approach muscle building?
So he starts with what he calls a needs analysis.
Okay.
Basically, he wants to understand your goals, your limitations, before he even gives you advice. Because the plan he'd give someone aiming for, like professional bodybuilding,
Yeah.
totally different than what he'd recommend for someone who just wants to, improve their overall fitness.
Makes sense. It's personalized. Does he ask about, like, whether you prefer going to the gym, working out at home?
Oh yeah, he's all over that. He gets that gym anxiety is real and actually has a surprisingly simple solution for people who prefer to exercise at home.
Oh, tell me more. I'm all about home workouts.
2 dumbbells.
2 dumbbells. That's it.
That's it. He says you can see incredible results right at home, just 6 months, couple of dumbbells, like 10, 20 pounds, a little bit of space, and you're good to go.
See, now that I like. Simple, effective.
Totally. But you do need a plan. And that's where Dr. Israetel emphasizes what he calls periodization.
Periodization. Okay. Sounds kind of intense.
It's not as complicated as it sounds, really just about having a structured training plan, which he says is super crucial, especially when you're first starting out.
Okay, so instead of just like wandering around the gym, randomly trying machines.
Yeah, no more of that. You're following a roadmap. His app, for example, lays out exactly what exercises to do, how much weight, sets, reps, all of it. No more guessing games.
That's huge, right? Takes the guesswork out, helps you stay consistent, which is what, like 90% of the battle?
At least, consistency is key.
So let's dive into the science behind muscle growth, what he calls hypertrophy. He's got these 4 key principles: specificity, overload, repetition, and frequency.
Right. Let's break them down.
Starting with specificity, what's that all about?
So specificity is about being intentional. You're choosing exercises that hit the muscles you're actually trying to grow.
So if I want bigger biceps, I should probably do some bicep curls.
Exactly. You got it. It's not about just going through the motions. It's about working smarter.
I like it. Okay, what about overload? Is this where we're talking about like really feeling the burn?
You know it. Overload means you're challenging yourself in every set, Pushing to the point where those last few reps are tough.
Gotta feel it to grow it.
Exactly. That's how you signal to your muscles, hey, we need to get bigger and stronger.
I'm all about that. Okay, let's talk reps. Dr. Israetel dropped a bit of a bombshell when he talked about his, quote, trade secret for optimal reps, 17.
17, huh? What's so special about 17?
Right. Before we get hung up on the number itself.
Because I'm sure some people are already freaking out about hitting that exact number.
Exactly. He's kind of messing with us here. What he's really saying is that the exact number isn't as important as we often think. So, no magic number.
Nope. He's saying as long as you're working within a certain range, and it's a pretty wide range, like 5 to 30 reps.
Okay, so whether it's 5 really heavy reps or 30 lighter reps.
The key is that feeling of overload at the end. That's what matters.
Interesting. So some flexibility there.
Absolutely. And that's good news, especially if you're working out at home with limited weights.
Work smarter, not necessarily harder.
Yeah.
I like his style. Now, he's also a big advocate for training each muscle group twice a week.
2 times a week. Got it. Why is that?
It's all about muscle protein synthesis.
Which is?
Basically, the process where your body repairs and builds new muscle tissue.
And here's the thing. It doesn't actually happen at the gym.
Wait, so when people are all, I'm going to hit the gym, make these muscles grow.
Yeah, they're kind of misunderstanding how it works.
So the gym isn't actually where the magic happens.
Think of it like this. The gym is where you create the signal, right? You're telling those muscles, hey, we need to grow.
Okay, so like sending the message.
Exactly. But the actual growth, that happens later.
When you're resting.
Bingo. While you're recovering, fueling your body with good nutrition, that's when those muscles actually start to rebuild and get bigger.
So the gym is like sending the email, but the growth is your body actually writing the response.
I like that. Perfect analogy. And you wouldn't expect a response immediately, right? You got to give it time.
So patience is key.
Absolutely. Dr. Israetel says that muscle growth, it usually peaks around like 12 to 36 hours after your workout.
Wow, so a day or two later.
Yeah, so that's why hitting those muscles twice a week is key. It keeps that growth cycle going strong.
So we're not just working out more, we're working out smarter. Okay, so let's say life gets in the way. You have to take a break from the gym. What happens to all that muscle we work so hard to build?
Unfortunately, muscle loss is going to happen.
Come on, really?
It's inevitable. Dr. Israel says after about 2 weeks of inactivity, you're going to start losing some of those gains. But there is good news.
Please tell me there's good news.
It comes back faster.
What do you mean?
Regaining muscle is much quicker than building it that first time.
Oh, that's a relief.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. So it's like our muscles actually remember that previous growth.
Exactly. It's like they've got a blueprint so they can bounce back way faster.
Okay. That makes me feel better about those times I fall off the wagon.
We all do it.
Good to know. Okay, let's switch gears for a sec. Talk about warming up.
All right, what are we warming up for?
Everything. No, but seriously. I know Dr. Israel isn't a fan of those super long, complicated warm-up routines.
He's all about keeping it simple, right?
Holy. So what does he recommend?
3 steps. That's it. 12 reps lightweight, 8 reps medium weight. Then bump it up to a heavier weight for 4 reps.
12, 8, 4. Got it. And that's it? That's all it takes?
It's about prepping your muscles, sure, but also your nervous system, getting everything ready to work.
So it's like mental prep too.
Exactly. Your nervous system needs a heads up, especially in the beginning. It's got to remember how to do those movements correctly, safely.
Okay, warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Check. Now, let's talk about mistakes. Obviously, overexerting yourself is a big one, but what are some other common workout mistakes people make?
One of the biggest things Dr. Israetel hammers home. Proper technique, can't stress it enough.
Okay, yeah, form over weight, right. I've heard that before.
It's not just about lifting heavy. He gave the example of a bicep curl. If you're not doing it right, you're not fully engaging the muscle.
And you're probably going to hurt yourself.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
he said something similar about squats, which, by the way,
Yeah.
amazing exercise, but you got to do them right. Protect that lower back.
So it's about lifting smarter?
100%. And that ties into another mistake people make. Rushing progress.
Trying to do too much too soon.
Yep. Trying to lift too heavy, increase volume too quickly. Recipe for disaster, or at least injury, and hitting a plateau.
So slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race. Gradual, consistent progress. That's what we want.
Okay, so we're being smart about our workouts, taking it slow. What about fueling all this hard work? I know Dr. Israetel is big on protein.
He is. He recommends like 150 to 200 grams per day, and not just in one sitting.
Spread it out.
Exactly. 3-5 meals, get that protein in throughout the day.
Makes sense. Now, I've heard some people say that too much protein is bad for your kidneys. What's Dr. Israel's take on that?
He actually debunked that myth pretty hard.
Really?
Oh, yeah, he was very clear about it. Unless you've had kidney surgery, you're good. He says that myth keeps so many people from optimizing their results.
That's interesting. What about something like intermittent fasting? Is that cool with him?
He says it's fine, it works for some people, but it might slow down muscle gain. Well, you're limiting the window you have for protein synthesis.
Ah, right, because it needs those periods of rest and recovery.
Exactly. Okay, on to a big one. Calories.
The age-old debate.
Yeah.
Calories in, calories out. Where does Dr. Israel land on this?
He's not going to deny that calorie balance is important. It is,
Okay.
but it's not the whole story. He's observed that people often fail with calorie counting
Yeah, I've been there.
because we underestimate portions or we're not really paying attention to what we're eating.
So it's not just about hitting some magic number.
Exactly. It's the quality of those calories that matters a lot.
It all comes back to building healthy habits, right?
Absolutely. Dr. Israel is all about whole foods, making sustainable changes, not just another crash diet.
Sustainable is the key word there. Now let's talk about something I know a lot of people are curious about. Cardio. Is it the be-all and end-all for weight loss? So if cardio is not the magic solution, what is?
It all comes back to diet.
Really?
Yeah.
More than exercise?
Diet has a way bigger impact on weight loss. Cardio's good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
It's not going to undo a bad diet.
exactly. Dr. Israel talks about this thing, the constrained energy hypothesis.
Okay.
Basically, we can only burn so many calories from exercise alone. Our bodies are smart, they adapt.
So you're saying I can't just outrun a diet of pizza and donuts?
Well, you could try. He actually gave this funny example. He was like, it's like trying to outrun eating 2 donuts. You'd have to run like 6 miles just to burn that off.
Oh, man. That puts it into perspective.
Right. Easy to eat calories, much harder to burn them off.
So build that healthy eating foundation first.
Exactly. And he's careful to point out, like, yeah, building muscle is great. It's good for you, changes your body composition. But it's not like it suddenly makes your metabolism go into overdrive.
Right. It's not a free pass to eat whatever you want.
Definitely not. Okay, want to talk supplements. I know people are curious.
They always are. What's Dr. Israel's stance? Another magic solution.
He's pretty clear on this. Food first. Supplements are, like, way down the list.
So should I just toss out my entire supplement drawer?
He actually said they're insanely overrated. Shouldn't even be in our top 10 priorities for health and fitness.
Wow, okay. Strong words. But he must have some favorites, right?
He does mention creatine. Seem to recall him suggesting 5 grams a day. No need to do that whole loading phase.
Okay, good to know. What about protein powder? He's big on protein, so.
He sees it as more of a convenience thing, like if you're struggling to hit your protein goals from food alone, sure, whey protein, casein, whatever works, but it's not a must-have. All right, ready for a potentially controversial one?
Hit me.
Steroids.
Ah, yeah. We knew this was coming.
And Dr. Israel, he's surprisingly open about it, talks about his own experiences, both the good and the bad, doesn't sugarcoat it.
Which is important.
Yeah.
Because there are risks. He lists a bunch, right? Heart problems, kidney issues, cancer, hair loss.
Oh, he goes there. And it's not just the physical stuff either. He talks about the mental and emotional impact.
Yeah, he mentioned experiencing increased aggression, intrusive thoughts. That's got to be tough to deal with.
And for him to talk about it so openly, pretty brave. Really shows the importance of, like, knowing what you're getting into, the whole picture, you know?
Absolutely. Because those mental and emotional side effects, they're real. He even draws a connection between steroid use and, like, honor culture.
Interesting. How so?
He's suggesting that higher testosterone, whether it's natural or from steroids, could make those aggressive tendencies even worse. Like, you might be more likely to retaliate if you feel wronged.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack.
It really is. And it makes you think about, the choices we make. What's driving them? Are we trying to prove something?
He also talked about how those early experiences, being bullied as a kid, might have played a role in his drive for strength.
It's that why behind our goals, right?
Yeah.
Got to be self-aware. But overall, I think what makes Dr. Israel so interesting is that he's willing to be vulnerable, share his struggle.
Even relatable.
Totally. He's this super smart, successful guy, but he's still human. We all are. And this deep dive, I think, really highlighted that. We covered a lot, busted some myths, dug into the science, talked to nutrition, supplements, even steroids. It's about finding what works for you, safely and sustainably.
And for the right reasons.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wrap on this deep dive. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. What resonated with you? What questions came up for you? Let us know.